Quickly, Nestor, because you've mentioned crossover, and we've seen these sort of crossover stars, YouTube stars that have tried to tackle the sport, and now you've got Jake Paul, who's really set to fight his first professional boxer. I mean, after dabbling in this space, is that smart?
Is it smart for Jake to fight a true boxer, or is it smart to allow content creator crossovers?
Well, let's start with the first question, which was kind of the initial goal is it a wise decision for Jake Paul to take on a professional boxer in a setting like this?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure Jake is going to win. Jake is probably the real deal. It'll take some time for people to realize that because he's the first of his kind. You have to be an Olympian, gold medalist, signed to a big promoter in order to get A-side status from your infancy in your career as a boxer. Jake has been able to do that. All 4 of his fights have been on pay-per-view. He made $45 million in boxing last year, where there's not even 5% of boxing making that. Jake has taken it extremely serious. We've interviewed dozens of fighters that have sparred him, and this is when the cameras aren't on. This is him training. These are the times for these men to make a name for themselves and say, yeah, I busted Jake up. He's nothing but a clown. He's not a real he's not a real boxer. He's a content creator. But instead, I'm hearing intimate stories live on air or behind the scenes where he's working like a true athlete. People believe in him. The people that he's sparring, they're former world champions or, good, decent fighters. And he's sparred Rahman before. There's always the sense of familiarity in the ring. If you've been in there with someone, you're going to be a little more comfortable, and being comfortable is probably 99% of boxing. You could control your temperament. You could control your stamina, not overexert yourself, which is something that can be a downfall for many. But I believe Jake is training like true fighters. He relocated to Puerto Rico. He's putting in the work. And I don't think that he'll convince everyone with this win over Rahman, but the casual fan will begin to believe in him because Hasim Rahman's father was a world champion. He's pretty synonymous when it comes to boxing, so he beat the son of a legend. We'll see, can Jake do it? The loss that Rahman has does come to at the hands of another son of a legend, and Lippy Morrison beat him, who is the son of Tommy Morrison. But this is Jake's opportunity to prove that he's the real deal. Now, there are some restrictions, right? Like, he's Jake Paul. It's what I said. He's the A side. So he's able to dictate what weight Rahman Jr. comes in at, which in boxing, that can be a problem. If you can't make the weight properly, you'll end up struggling. If you're struggling, you're not going to perform well on fight night. You'll rehydrate and overhydrate and be sluggish. So many things can happen if you didn't have a good camp and if you have to cut unnecessary weight, something that Rahman may end up doing because he hasn't had to cut weight in so long.
It sounds like you're saying, though, that his familiarity with Rahman, the fact that Rahman kind of at one point mentored him, tutored him, or led him, showed him the way while they sparred. Yeah, I mean, we should be looking at that through the lens of ultimately a positive thing for Jake Paul, and not through the lens of, well, this guy knows Jake Paul and will be able to take advantage of him.
Well, yes. Two of those things can be true because just like Jake is comfortable with Rahman is comfortable with Jake. Rahman claims that there's footage that we haven't seen that can be produced that shows him doing things to Jake that led Jake to get upset and stop it. So a lot can happen. But we'll see on fight night. It's not a lot of time for Rahman. It was a last-minute replacement. I expect the weight loss to be a major struggle.